It's a new week in Modern Warfare, and you know what that means. A brand new aftermarket part. This week, Season 1, Week 5, we have the JAK Signal Burst. And this part works a bit different than what we've seen in the past. It actually works on two different weapons, the Holger 5.56 and the DM56. It turns either of those guns into a 4-round burst. And that is important because if you know your facts about the Holger, it's a 4-shot kill. So this makes it the only burst fire gun in the game that can kill in one burst with all of the bursts landing in the body. Anyways, how do you unlock this? Well, you complete 5 of any of the week 5 challenges, or you can wait for the season to end and it will be available in the armory. Multiplayer challenges pretty much all focus on using the Holger 5.56. You equip a sight, try to go for headshots, and it'll pretty much be unlocked in no time. Once it unlocked, you'll notice a couple of things when you equip this new aftermarket part. The first one is it takes and locks the barrel, the laser, as well as it equips a 1x optic. The laser is a blue laser light that is slightly visible to enemies. I'll throw up what it looks like to go up against. You can see not quite the blaring blue beam of like a green laser, but it is definitely noticeable. And traditionally, you can't see the blue lasers at all. So this is, I'm going to call it a strong blue laser, one that we really haven't seen in Modern Warfare so far. All that doesn't matter. What really matters is the stats of what happens when you equip this gun. And let me tell you, it's interesting. So on the Holger 5.56, bullet velocity is going to go up by 50% to 1,035 milliseconds. An incredibly quick bullet. In the stats, it says the RPM goes from 588 down to 136, but from my measuring, the burst is maintained or maybe a bit elevated at 600 rounds per minute, giving you a time to kill of 300 milliseconds, which is average for assault rifles in this game. To give you an idea, the FR 5.56 kills in 348 milliseconds, and that's when you have to give it 2 bursts with that gun. The DG58 is around that 300 millisecond time. The important thing, though, is the burst delay on this gun. Burst delay is 200 milliseconds, which means if you miss with any of the rounds in that burst, you're automatically looking at a half a second kill time, which is frankly just not competitive at all. To give you an idea, burst delay, this does have the longest burst delay of any burst fire rifle. FR 5.56 is 150 milliseconds. The DG56 is 100 milliseconds. So this one is double the burst delay of the DG56, which is pretty substantive as far as stats go, and that's going to be an important one. Hipfire is improved by the set by 10%, both min and max. ADS speed is also reduced, or I guess increased. It goes up to 295 milliseconds, and the sprint to fire is also increased to 277 milliseconds. And that's not the only thing that changes. It doesn't say that recoil is increased, but from my brief hand testing, there is definitely a slight increase in recoil with this aftermarket part. The good news is on the 5.56, there is no left to right recoil. It is a very vertical recoil, which is nice. Now, how would I recommend to build this? Well, my build is of course going to be the aftermarket part. Then we're going to run the X10 Muscle, the Bruin Pivot Vertical Grip, the Holger 26 Factory Stock, and Morn 20 Grip. And you may notice a bit of a theme with that build. It's all about controlling that vertical recoil, because if you want to be at all successful with this gun, you're going to need to land all 4 of those shots, or else you're just frankly not in a very competitive time to kill, and it's not going to work out great for you, right? When the burst, which is supposed to be a quicker fire rate, is literally just the fire rate of the main gun, we're not really looking at a great weapon to be using out there on the field of battle. So that's really not an attractive option to use it on the assault rifle. But what happens when we equip it on the DMR because, well, the DMR does more damage. It's a 3-hit kill. Well, unfortunately, it does reduce the damage on the DMR to 45. It does still maintain a 3-hit kill if one of those shots is a headshot, making it perform a little bit better in theoretical time to kill. But if you're just going for body shots, you still need to hit all 4. Other stats that change with this: bullet velocity has been increased to 1050, just like the other one. Rate of fire is being brought up because, of course, the DM56 actually has a reduced fire rate compared to the Holger 556 because of the because it's a single fire, has a reduced fire rate. So we do actually get a fire rate increase with this. The hip fire is also tightened up by the usual 10% that we saw on the Holger 556. You do end up getting some small movement penalties here and there. The ADS speed is increased to 267 milliseconds. The sprint to fire time is increased to 201 milliseconds, but you'll notice that those stats are better than the Holger 556. So if you have your heart set on using one of these two guns, I would say you want to equip it to the DM56. I think it's a better overall build. It does have a bit more rough of recoil. It pulls up and to the right. And to counteract that, I'll go ahead and give my build. Of course, we're using that aftermarket part to start with. Then the X10 ported barrel and the Bruin pivoted vertical grip, just like we used on the Holger. Then we are using the Holger recoil pad and the Chisel VX0 cheek riser. All of that gives you a very, very similar performing gun, but it is just a little bit more snappier than the base version. And, you know, what are my final thoughts and feelings on these guns? Well, they're not exactly the best. I don't think I'll be choosing to rock this kit on either of these weapons. That seems to be the theme for when they do these new versions of the weapons. I will say, I think the DM56 looks like something I would have seen out on an airsoft field when I was 15. And it has a special place right there. It's like, oh, this is weird and wacky, and I appreciate just the janky and wonky proportions of this weapon. But will I be rocking it further in the matchmaker? Probably not. Absolutely not. Anyways, guys, that is the all new aftermarket part. That is the JAK signal burst. If you like this video, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.